Hello and welcome to Before We Break Up Again, a podcast with me, Alfie Brown, and her, Jessie Cave. On this week's offering, we have a fight. It's not really a fight. It's more...
We dissect a fight.
We dissect a fight for your pleasure. Like a frog in an American classroom, we dissect and spoon out the innards and have a real good rifle around in the fight.
Decide who you think is right, who you think is wrong.
Right in. Enjoy the episode. I think today we're going to do a little less death. Can we embargo grief, death, that sort of thing
and
today?
Sex. Grief,
and sex.
Yeah.
Sex has been not a regular occurrence in the same way that grief and death have. So sex we could do... Okay. I think we've got a couple left in the tank when it comes to sex. Yeah,
but just because one of the questions you could quite easily delve into sex there, and I'm just going to say, don't, if you don't mind.
I wasn't going to delve into sex.
Well, you might think that might be where you go to immediately, but now you'll know and you'll think about it.
No, I had a completely opened mind. The only thing that I was being conscious of is just wary of quite the frequency with which we've spoken about grief.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll shut up about grief. Yeah? You can shut me up.
I wasn't saying it was you. I was saying we have done that.
I think I go there quicker than you.
You definitely do. You definitely do. There is a podcastly occurrence where I think, grief and rape bingo is probably not the right thing to call the particular game, but it is what it is.
Well, we didn't release the rape
sound
one.
Effects. Sorry?
We didn't release... Oh, here you go.
But is this for grief or rape?
Down on Venture Bay.
Yeah.
Come to save the day.
They've never dealt with a rape case, have they, Paw Patrol? Anyway, so we have actually started maybe our heaviest podcast introduction yet.
Well, thanks for the warning.
And light. A bit of dark and light. Who could ask for more?
Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I did. I did. And didn't. Light. Okay, here we fucking go. It's late at night.
It's late at night. We're doing another one of our late night records. Jessie's Beast in Black, her bête noire, her most hated time to record a podcast is late at night. Now, until I pressed record, I had been catatonic, monotonic, monosyllabic, dead to the world, sleepy. But I have managed to rouse myself for the purpose of this podcast. How about you, Jessie?
Well, I'm slightly worried that two of the kids are still awake and they could be making an appearance. I've told them to tell the Alexa to set the alarm.
I hate the Alexa.
So do I.
The Alexa was
one of the biggest regrets, actually.
One of your biggest regrets?
Purchase-wise.
Right. Could you give me a rundown of your biggest, I'll do a theme tune if you'd like. It's biggest regrets, it's a biggest regrets, it's a biggest regrets, purchase-wise. The Alexa.
Yeah, the Alexa is probably number one.
Yeah, and then...
Only because I saw that Kourtney Kardashian, when she puts her baby to nap, covers the baby in a blanket that stops electro waves, magnet, Wi-Fi things coming onto the baby. And then it made me think, oh God, they probably don't have an Alexa in the bedroom.
Do you know what has more powerful radiation rays than your Wi-Fi router?
What?
The sun.
Right.
That's why I don't really buy... There's radiation everywhere. It's just a certain kind that's the Wi-Fi. I just don't really buy that it is that bad for you.
Okay.
But, I don't take a lot of health and wellness advice from Kourtney Kardashian. I never have. Have you?
No, not at all. No. I'm sorry, that's a detour. I'm trying to think of other regrets. I don't.
Purchase-wise regrets.
Probably my other iPhone, which I thought I would use for content, but it turns out it's a worse. It's one of the annoying things about iPhones is that the more updated the iPhone is, the more unflattering the camera light is. So that the phone that I got specifically to do content, the camera makes me look disgusting.
I think also you just have to be more conscious of lighting when you've got a newer camera.
Yeah.
On your phone, you've got to be more conscious of lighting. And that's irritating. A worse quality camera, softer focus, more flattering. Bob is looking good. Your uncle's hot. I like him.
Okay. I can't think of any other purchases right now. Maybe the second Furby.
Yeah,
right
the second
here.
Furby was a big mistake. Did you want to buy?
I would turn it on to be funny, but then it won't shut up.
No, we've had our good time with the Paw Patrol. That was a very good moment.
Okay.
But no, let's not milk it with the children's toys making sounds humour department.
What's your biggest regret purchase-wise?
And my iPhone, any iPhone. I wish I'd been one of those irritating people. It's like there are certain very, very irritating groups of people. Everybody finds them very irritating. Those people are vegans and people who don't drink and people who don't have smartphones. And the reason why is because everybody wants to be that person and they're jealous that they're not, so they hate them. That's why. There's no good, they're not smug. It's the same way that people, whenever you're out and you're reading a book or you've got a book with you, I don't know if you find this, or this probably doesn't happen so much to women, I'm guessing. But whenever I'm out and I've got a book with me, like my mates will go, what are you reading? Oh, I'm reading a book. And we'll say, oh, what are you reading? Oh, is it Nausgard? Yeah, of course you're reading Nausgard. Or like you got some non-fiction book with you, like Nasty, Brutish and Short, or whatever the fuck that is. And everybody goes, oh God, what's that? It's some kind of study book you've got. Ugh. Because they don't like it, because you're trying to read, which is a good thing for your brain. So they're just jealous that they're not reading. They wish they were reading.
Yeah.
And more secure people will go, oh, what's that?
Yeah. I love it when you don't drink as well and people are like, oh, great. Oh, is that a nice non-alcoholic beer? Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll try that. Rather than, why aren't you drinking? What's going on type thing. It'd be so cool if it was just normal really for everyone not to drink. The peer pressure thing is such a big thing.
When I was 22 and I didn't drink for 2 years, everybody would always ask me why I didn't drink. Oh, why not? I always think, what a weirdly, deeply personal question to ask a stranger. And why not? Oh, because it destroyed me. Yeah.
Well, that's a quick fire way to end the discussion, just saying that.
I know I would say it was because I was, when I was 22, I thought it was very funny to say it was because I had AIDS. And so my immune system couldn't handle the alcohol, because that was a real quick way to shut the conversation down.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that is very, very, my 22-year-old sense of humor. I would have picked a much funnier autoimmune disease in my late 30s.
Not that any of them are funny. All right. That's not make me have a heart attack right now.
Autoimmune? Well, no, but funny sounding,
Okay.
Like less well trodden. Like I think AIDS has been used as like.
Right, I want to move on.
In Team America, there's that song where everyone has AIDS. AIDS, and then that became like it's now boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to talk about how humor and these people get tired of these comedic touchstones that become well trodden and therefore lose their impact. Things that shock you can only be shocking if you're surprised by them, and if they're commonplace, they're not shocking to you anymore. Which is why I would have chosen a more exotic and yet well-known autoimmune disease, or just a normal disease.
I've completely forgot what I was going to say now.
It's your purchase regrets, Jessie.
Right, okay. Oh, I was going to say
the podcast equipment.
No, probably actually some of the podcast equipment for the early podcasts, that was terrible equipment. I have decided genuinely that I'm I'm going to be one of those annoying people who doesn't drink. I'm not going to drink anymore. The only drink I'm going to have is Guinness. Before anyone thinks this is a Guinness Zero. I have a Guinness Zero every day, but I think once or twice a week I'm going to have a proper Guinness.
Yeah. Once or twice a week?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Jessie.
Well, once a week at least, a Guinness.
Oh, once a week? You're going to have a Guinness?
Yeah, I think it's... I will keep drinking red wine. Red wine and Guinness, right. I'm only drinking them. All other alcohol does absolutely nothing for me. If I could get drunk, great. I think it's because it just doesn't affect me. There's something about my body that... Yeah,
you have a density.
It's a density. I really believe that.
I think I'm going to stop drinking as well.
Well, yeah, that was the deal. I'm going to stop drinking. Prick.
I'm going to stop drinking apart from brandy and limoncello. I'm just going to drink brandy, but I'm going to drink them all the time.
Cognac.
I'm going to drink cognac and brandy and limoncello all the time. And I
would have no idea if you drank that, because during lockdown, when you got that bottle of whiskey, bourbon, I didn't realise. I
mean, I wasn't correcting you. I was just telling you the kind of whiskey. Sorry if that
don't touch my hair.
Sorry. It's insured for thousands now.
It's not. It's very knotty, and I don't want it. You're gonna brush it up, and then you're basically gonna be back combing my hair,
devaluing it for the paying gentleman.
Shut up. Not devaluing. Just it. Then when I plait it after the podcast for bedtime, it's going to take me longer, and I want to watch something. So please.
You want to watch something after this?
Yeah. You just got back. That's how we celebrate.
What? So we're going to, because we haven't seen each other or we've missed each other, we're going to sit down and...
No, we'll have fun. We'll do other stuff. Ooh. And then we'll watch some TV. That's the plan.
I need to edit this and have it go out tomorrow morning. So absolutely not. You get to bed.
We need to be intimate, Alfie, okay?
We need to be intimate.
Our intimacy levels, we need to keep them up. Yeah? We discussed that on the last podcast, okay?
Yeah, fine.
I don't feel loved right now.
Well, no. I've been away all week, haven't I?
Yeah, exactly. So it's time to love me. Okay, cool. Sorry, that's disgusting. I'm sorry, everybody.
You were the one who didn't want to talk about any of that.
Yeah, I was doing like a Married at First Sight.
I know what you were doing. I know what you were doing.
Okay, cool. So we have a few leftover questions from last week, which we didn't get to answer, which had piqued my interest, and I thought it'd be fun to discuss them before we forget to ever come back to them. So one question I liked was, how are you okay?
Yeah, I was just doing a funny face, sorry.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Go on.
How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? Be honest.
I feel like I need some fruit and some water. I feel quite dehydrated.
There's your Guinness Zero.
Thank you.
Knock that back.
Okay, the vitamins and minerals. Go on. Come on. Come on.
But other than that.
How do I feel? Physically or emotionally? I feel dehydrated. Emotionally, I feel great. I had a really good week. Monday was incredible and beautiful, and then
what was work? So you have traumatic. To explain where you are.
I will. Don't worry. I'm just building suspense before I reveal what it was. But not even consciously. I'm just a natural storyteller.
I got that. Sorry.
And I was at
I forgot.
I was at the Liverpool. Ow! Don't bite me when we're podcasting. I was at the parade to celebrate Liverpool being the Premier League champions of England. Mm-hmm. And it was joyous until it wasn't. And whilst we were quite close to what happened on Walter Street, I think, or Water Street.
Water Street.
Right next to Hooters, where we're still yet to go, aren't we? Can't
wait. I'll go there with my new implants.
Yes, you could work there.
Yeah, that could quit OnlyFans, start working at Hooters.
Yes. Get your big old double H's out, and they would have... that car would have bounced right off you, wouldn't it?
Gone.
Anyway.
It's also very strange to have a week where you're just with one of our kids and I'm just with...
3 of our kids.
Yeah, but I also had we were meant to go up to Liverpool, me and Margot, to have so just have us four together for a couple of days, but we couldn't go up because all the trains were a nightmare. So I ended up taking her off for the night, which was really nice. So it was really strange just to have one child with me. It was nice though. Showed her 51st dates.
51st state.
51st dates.
51st dates.
Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore at their best.
Right. Not Denzel Washington going on a rampage.
No.
Because that wouldn't have been appropriate, Jessie.
No.
Okay.
But it does make you realise with one child how much
more fun it is.
Well, I would actually say the opposite. I loved spending time with her just on her own. And it was so nice, like having our first night, just us two in a hotel, which we've never done. It's just really surreal and cool. But I felt quite pressured because I was like, oh, it's just me. I've got to be great. Whereas when the others are there, they can be great and I can come in and save the day, or come in and soothe, or come in and supply snacks.
Yes, I have to say it comes a lot more naturally to me, the one child thing. I feel like you get a chance when you're with one child to truly know them and communicate with them and nurture them and impart and grow closer and have a bond. Whereas when there's four of them, you're just essentially herding them.
Sorry.
That has to stop.
Sorry. I'm really sorry. I was just making a little Lego figure with a dinosaur in with a blanket on just for the morning.
Yeah, but we're talking, Jessie.
Sorry.
We're talking to each other.
I thought it would be a really nice surprise for Ten to wake up and see that I've done that for him.
But why do that?
I was multitasking.
But we have to listen to each other.
I am listening and I'm doing Lego and listening. That's what I'm able to do. Okay? That's my skill.
Okay, well, next time you're talking to me and I'm scrolling on my phone, I'll be multitasking too, okay?
I'm sorry. I think that, yeah, you probably are naturally much better at the one thing. But I think I prefer it not.
Well, let's fucking hope so.
Yeah, because I did at points think, oh, wow, this could be my life. Like,
could have been your life.
This could have been my
not future tense.
This could have been my life, and I could have just. But I felt so like whenever I looked at my phone, I felt so guilty because I was like, she's right there. Couldn't look at my phone. I couldn't do any work for 2 days because I was just like, she's right there.
So the whole time we were away, we went to a variety of different places to eat because, of course, we don't have a kitchen up there yet. So there was no real way to eat as healthy as you would usually like to if you were staying somewhere for any length of time. And being in restaurants and only having one child with you was a very different experience because when we're there with all of our barbarian horde, I'm so conscious of looking at them and making sure that they maybe could just put the knife down for a second. That I don't look around at all the other children and their parents in the thing. And I'd love to tell you that I'm able to look at other families and be empathetic and maybe think about the context of their lives and what might have led them to the decision to just have their sort of child staring at the phone in their hand for hours. Well, it's like there were families and all three of them were just sat there and like couples, both of them just sat there eating pancakes whilst on their phones. Mother and daughter, she was a teenage daughter, not talking, just scrolling on their phones, joylessly eating the food that was put in front of them, barely communicating, like children getting pushed around Sainsbury's with like this phone in their hand that was playing them this toxic shite. Like these children are going to grow up and murder their parents because they're not going to feel connected. I'm not exaggerating. I am exaggerating. I have no idea about that. That's kind of me being sort of humorously bleak. But surely it's going to damage the connection between not just the child and the world and what it is to be human. But it's so appalling and addictive. And whenever I feel like I've got a sort of fatter, more sluggish barely operational brain after a little bit of time on the phone. So God knows what it's doing to a developing mind. Like, you know how weed is so much worse for teenagers and people in their early 20s? Like, think, well, how much worse must a phone be for a toddler?
It's terrifying.
So I was very, very conscious of that. Although Donnie and I did look at my phone quite a lot when we were eating to play Wordle, but I sort of thought that was okay.
Yeah, because you're not, yeah.
If we're playing Wordle together and we're communicating with each other about what we're doing, I sort of think it's better.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, really.
We were in the park today. So we've been to the park. We go to the park twice a day. Almost every single time this week, because it's half term, we've been to the park. There have been a couple of tweens, so 11, 12, 13, girls just sitting there on their phones. Or usually it's one of them has a phone and they're both looking at it and they're both propping it up and then going and putting it on timer and taking selfies and looking at endless TikToks. And that's in the park where there are toddlers going around, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-olds going around. And I have to really repress the desire to go up to them and say, what the hell are you doing in here? If you want to do that, can you go over there, please? Because I don't want my kids to see you doing that. Thank you. Because I know my daughter is very impressionable. She's going to see you on TikTok and she's going to think, oh, that looks cool. Can I do that, please? Oh, you're taking a cool photo. Can I do that, please?
Did you say anything to them?
No, I have once, but I think I was too afraid to, really, because I didn't know whether the parents were just sitting there on their phones on the bench.
Yeah, I see that quite a lot.
So it's really...
Or parents on their phones whilst they're swinging a child who's... Sorry.
Well, this is the way it's going to be.
Well, it won't. It'll subside. There'll just be a lost generation full of fucked up parents and fucked up kids who have dislocated relationships. But also, you've got to go like, oh my God, you know, these parents, they might not have time. They might be under certain stresses that I don't know about. There's all sorts of... Did
you remember that one that went viral of someone on TikTok put, just a young man, I think, filmed a child in a park and was like, oh my God, there's a mum over there and all her kid wants to do is go on the slide and he just wants his mum to look at him on the slide. And it's just so tragic that this mum isn't even looking. She's looking at her phone, sitting on the bench.
Was the twist that he was the dad?
That would be great.
That's what I'm going to do next time we're in the park. I'm going to film you and go, look at this bitch. Look at this stupid fucking person not paying attention. I can't believe her. So I'll just go and push him, will I? Fine.
So she's the mum's on the bench and the kid's like looks very sad that the mum's not paying any attention. And this clip went viral at first because everyone was like, this is tragic, poor child. This is the state of the world today and everything. But then it rebounded back onto the guy who filmed the whole thing, being
absolutely correctly.
Why are you in the park filming a child and a mom? I don't think he filmed the child, but
I have to say that would be my immediate reaction is, what are you doing there, you fucking weirdo?
But then, like, how do you know that this mum isn't on her lunch break? It's her only 5 minutes where she can see the child, but she also has to do work. Maybe she's sending one email. Maybe she's been playing witches and wizards for him for half an hour and now she's having 5 minutes to look at her phone and do some important calls. Maybe a family relative is sick. Maybe it's a really important thing she's doing. And how dare you just kind of criticize from afar?
Yes. There's a very good David Foster Wallace essay called How's the Water? Or something like that, where he goes through all his worst assumptions about people and then doubles back with all these different contexts in which
I want to read that.
Their repellent behavior might be completely understandable, and he treats them with a new grace that he hadn't found previously. And he says, even though it's unlikely that that the person is driving the horrible 4x4 car in the small village it feels like they don't need, it might be that they have PTSD and the only way that they can drive around is, of course, that's probably not the case. They probably are the worst sort of person you can imagine. But it's important to allow yourself before you react. It's why I very rarely get angry with people in public. It's because you really need to be sure that you're going to be right before you get angry.
Yeah. Okay.
Although I have found myself doing it more recently.
I was going to say, I think you get angry quite a lot.
Yeah.
But that's just because we're stressed.
I was in the gym like the other day, and there was this guy doing glute kickbacks, which is fine in this day and age.
Love them. Donkey kicks, my favourite.
No, glute kickbacks, Jessie.
They're still working out the donkey kick muscles, okay?
Jessie, also, I have to be allowed to say, which is fine in this day and age, that's the kind of line that you can't talk over because people need to hear that it's a joke. Because obviously, that's not how I feel.
Get a grip, Alfie.
If you speak over that, then it's like that's how which is fine in this day and age. It's like that's how I really am.
Okay, lose your ego. Lose your ego, mate.
But if you have to notice that that's a joke.
Get off my hair.
Lose your ego. Get off my hair.
Sorry.
Repeat
it.
He was doing glute kickbacks.
Repeat it now. Sorry, listener. Sorry.
I'm not sure how.
I know it's incredibly annoying. I'm sorry. I'm a Taurus. Sorry. Go on.
He was doing glute kickbacks, which is fine in this day and age. And I walked past the machine and he kicked back the machine and it almost hit me. And he went, oh, and I went, oh, sorry. I went, oh, sorry. And he went, oh, and I went, no. I was perfectly polite. I didn't know that you were going to kick back. I was complete. It's just one of those things that in a busy gym, you almost got me, but you didn't. I said, sorry for being in the way. All you have to do in that situation is go, oh, sorry too. And then we both go on with our day. You don't get to shake your head at me bitchily just because I almost got knocked in the fucking chin by your glute kickback machine.
You didn't need to say sorry. Why?
No, but just when you almost bumped into somebody, no matter whose fault it is, you just go, oh, sorry. I know I didn't need to say sorry, but it's just what you do. You just go, oh, sorry.
I know.
Because it's like just common courtesy. Rather than go, now, before we react here, whose fault was that? But
you're so nice because I've noticed people do that a lot. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. If a toddler scooters near them and I see the mums go, oh, sorry. Even though they didn't get hurt, everything's fine. Whereas I think I'm not as nice a person, actually.
Yeah, you've got to say sorry.
I don't.
If they're scooting near a person, you go, oh, sorry. Like that. Oh, sorry. You got to smile as you say sorry.
I go,
aren't they? It's a podcast.
Take that, bitch.
Yeah, it's a podcast, so you can't give the finger on
I gave the finger.
Just if you're not watching it on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Obviously, a lot of you listen or watch on YouTube, but aren't subscribed yet. That's what Stephen Bartlett says on his shitty little podcast. So
is that the CEO guy? The
Diary of a CEO guy, where he tries to sell you products through the guise of a conversation.
Is that the keto diet can undo cancer?
Yeah. If you don't eat carbs, then your brain tumor will go away. Yeah, sure. Right, Stephen. And you're breaking this news on the Diary of a CEO podcast. You fucking lunatic. Any road.
Shall I just get on with the questions now? Oh.
What was that?
I don't know.
Well, they'll be able to tell us. they'll have seen if somebody came in.
It wasn't. No, they're in. The Alexa will have said they have to go to bed now.
Put the toy down.
Sorry. Right. Okay. How do you rebuild trust after 2 breakups? That was a good question that we didn't answer last week. We actually did answer this in the hotel room. Sorry. But Alfie gets very upset by the idea of trust.
I don't. It's just like we had a great time away from you where you couldn't hear it. And we recorded loads of great episodes and they're never going to be released and not going to your ears.
No, it's just, it was a loss. It was a loss.
People don't need to know about a loss.
I feel the loss, okay?
Why don't you carry the burden of that loss by yourself and stop trying to put it on them? We're on the double.
Okay, so we're going to answer this question after the Paw Patrol
Round
theme
Adventure
tune.
Bay.
Let's have a little. You have a sip of your
Team
Guinness.
of pups will come and save the day. Cheers, Marshall. Let's go.
Let's drink your Guinness. This was a break. That was meant to be a break for you to sip. And now you have to not burp for the rest of the podcast.
Okay.
I wonder if anyone's noticed about your burps.
No, I mean, I don't know, Jessie, come on.
I can tell when you're holding it in. Anyway, right. I don't trust you. That is the truth. I don't trust you. I trust you in so many ways, but
How?
in the like, do I think we're gonna have more hiccups down the road?
Or burps.
Yeah, I think that we will. I think I don't trust you not to flirt with other women, and I don't trust you not to.
Why would it be a problem if I flirted with other women? What's flirting?
Well, like, I just think that you might give people the wrong idea sometimes. And I know that happens, especially if you got alcohol in you.
Right.
So it's not like I trust you complicitly. I don't think you would cheat on me, but I also think that you would be quite good at covering it up.
I just think you can drive yourself insane with these sorts of situations. And like, do I trust you? Like, yeah. But also, like, I mean, you just, like, trust is a choice. I'm in a relationship with you, and I choose to trust you. But then people have their trust broken all the time. So I really don't I do trust you or I don't trust you. Like, it's this binary situation whereby trust entails the absolute knowledge of the other's actions at all times, and not trusting involves and also, as you said, trust is so many different things. I trust you to do this. I trust you to do that.
Like, I trust you with the kids. I trust that you love me. I trust that you want the best for us. I trust so many things, but I guess I don't know. I guess I'm there are certain events that maybe have eroded a little bit of trust, but I think we have done well to rebuild it in how we've changed as people in the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, I trust you more than I ever have, but then trust is built into the knowledge of somebody in a sense. Like, I
wish you weren't so much more eloquent than me. God, I'm like, I trust you not to cheat on me. And then you say something like trust is built into the knowledge of someone.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really, really true. Fuck.
Like, when we first met, there was less to try. I mean, obviously I'm just going to repeat what I just said and in more words than I need to. So I feel like I trust you more than ever because I know you more than ever. But also the idea that you could break my trust in one way or another. I mean, you have broken my trust before. But it just happens. And then when it happens, you go, I didn't like when you did that. That was a betrayal of my trust.
Okay, well, this is where so an example, say, is we made this kind of promise to each other or you made a promise to me a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now.
Yeah, but again,
no, I'm going to go into
lost in the language here. So much gets lost in the language.
Yeah, but I'm going to just go into
one of these
it
tiresome
it's a big deal
arguments
for me.
Yeah, okay, fine. Well, the thing is,
I am allowed to explain it.
Okay, but it's very frustrating and it's very
because you're going to come off so bad. That's why you don't want.
I'm not going to come off so bad. I just, for the life of me, it's so frustrating to have these arguments that, and this is my thing about all arguments, is that all arguments are essentially based around somebody's different interpretations of what happened in the past.
Right.
Like, so I think one thing happened. and see it a certain way. And Jessie thinks another thing happened and sees it a certain way. You explain it, go
on. We had a relatively big fight the night before I was doing one day of filming, and you didn't arrive back home until very late because I had said, we had this fight because I said, oh, can you only go out for a couple of hours? And you got annoyed that I was restricting your freedom like that. So you decided to drink until 2 a.m. and then come back. Well, you basically, you used it as an excuse, I think, to stay out way later, even though you knew that I would have really appreciated you being back earlier because I had to get up at 4 a.m. And I think that you did that on purpose to fuck with me. And we had this kind of big, fight. I didn't sleep, and so I didn't sleep before this one day of filming that really did mean a lot to me. And then after, we made up very quickly, as we tend to do, because I accepted that. Well, I think this was largely you in the fucking wrong. I think that you can say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I could have been more, rather than saying, oh, can you be back at 9? I could have said, can you be mindful of the fact that I've got to get up at 4? So can you get back so that I don't feel stressed and stuff at at a fine time? I don't know why you got so annoyed about it. What, do you not think any of this is true? Anyway.
The most upsetting thing about all this is, and this is the problem with doing this podcast, is what we do when we lay our different argument cards on the table for everybody to rifle through. And maybe this is me just thinking ill of myself or being paranoid about something or whatever, but I feel like there's a lot more trust around you. Like you have I don't, necessarily care what people think too much. Well, maybe I do. Maybe
I really don't think that's true either.
What?
I don't think that
You have to speak close to the microphone.
I don't think that's true. I think that you're more, I think people think I'm kind of mad.
I fucking hope so.
Anyway, go on.
I was meant to go meet my friend at 7 and you said, can you be back by 9? And I went, oh, right. And I told you about that I was going to go and meet my friend.
You're meeting her at 6:30 and I said, could you be back by around 9? I said, I'm going to go meet up with so-and-so this night. I don't know if they want to be named, so I'm not going to name them. And you said, I've got filming the next day. And I went, oh, I can do it another night. And you went, no, that night's fine. That's crucial. And you omitted that, didn't you? I said, I could change it because of your filming. You went, no, don't change it. Once I said, oh, can you only go up for see her for a couple of hours?
Stay in the pocket stay in that moment. You've now diverted it. So let's just establish this one fact before we move on. I said I could move it because of your filming
that night.
No, when I was organising it. So I gave you plenty of time to think about, and in the build-up, you knew that I was going out.
I don't know if that's true.
That's so unfair. That's so unfair. You can't do that on a podcast, Jessie.
I don't know if that's true.
I mean, you can't do that on a podcast, Jessie. That's so unfair. That's so unfair.
No, Alfie, I'm not fucking with you. I don't remember you saying that. I don't remember.
You do, Jessie. You do. This is
I remember you saying on the night. If you only want me to stay out until
you didn't. No, you did. I put it in the no. Because you even in that fight, you said it was brought up that this was the case.
Okay, let's move on.
Now let's move on.
Move on.
Now let's move on.
Keep explaining your reasoning.
Then you said, "Oh, can you be back by 9ish?" And I went, right, okay. And I was clearly put out, but I went, right, okay. And I went, nope, that's fine. I didn't realize that was the case, but that's fine. Because for me, meeting somebody for 2.5 hours that you haven't seen for a long time, a close friend you haven't seen for a long time, that's going to be more than that's catching up with a friend that you see every couple of weeks to me. So seeing that you put in the diary for a while, you don't put something in the diary for 2 weeks or whatever it was that I told you about was there and you knew it at the filming. If it's just going to be a couple of hours. And then I said, okay. I was obviously a bit pissed off about it, but I said, okay. And then you were livid, irretrievably livid. And you did that thing where you are incredibly angry and you say loads of horrible things you don't mean, or that I like to imagine that you don't mean. Do you mean them?
I didn't say loads of horrible things immediately.
Jessie,
I said them later.
If you want to have these sorts of fights out, you're going to have to.
But like you said, it's my word against yours.
I know this is but I wouldn't have brought this fight up because I don't want to have to go through.
I think it's a really interesting fight. I think
it is a really interesting fight, and one of the things that we don't fight. As much as it sounds like we do, we just talk more about the fights here. So it's more interesting to go over the fight. Do you remember the other day when we got on great? That's boring for you, listener. So we're talking more about the fights here. But in a fight the other day, we cut to, I think it was because a lot of the time at the end of fights, and I'm very aware of my failures and my shortcomings as a partner and more broadly, a man. And at the end of these fights, I've often, like the day after that one, I've said, this is how I want things to be. And this is what I want to be like. And I don't want, and I apologize for this. And whenever I have said to you in the past, I think you could change your behavior to be more like this, there's always a deflection. You do deflect quite a lot in arguments, and especially when negative aspects of your own person are brought up. But we did come to some sort of have an epiphany about your anger, which is a problem.
That's just not fair to say. My anger.
This is we had the conversation the other day.
Yeah, but it's not anger. It's like irritability. Anger is too strong a word for it. My annoyance, my irritability when you do certain things.
Right. Well,
anger is such a shit word to use. It's not fair.
It was the word that we used repeatedly the other day when we were talking about it.
You use it, and I get very annoyed about using it.
You
get angry. Hang on a second, because I think you've kind of glided over the denouement of that big fight, which was that you were crying, weeping, saying, "I'm really sorry. I want to be change. I want to stop drinking, and I want to be you did this huge song and dance about it. And then I was like, great. Okay. I think you shouldn't drink for a year. That's what I want. I would like you not to drink for 1 year, just to prove that you can, which is what again, my word against yours. But when we got back together 2 years ago, the deal was that you don't drink. And you lasted you did last a while. You lasted 9 months or 8 months or something. But you haven't done the year. I want you to do the year just to prove that you can, for me, because I believe it's irrelevant. The reason why you couldn't say, okay, I'll come back at 9ish.
Do you not have anything else to say about the...
Hang on. Wait, let me finish that.
Okay.
The reason why you felt so restrained by the 9 o'clock curfew or whatever is because then you can't really get drunk.
I will still need longer than that to catch up with somebody, even if I'm not drinking.
Well, I would like to see how long you are with these people when you don't drink. Because I think that drinking is such a big part of your way of socializing.
I didn't drink for those 8 months, and then the 2 years I mentioned before when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah, I know you like to hold on to them, but it was just that was in your early 20s. So I was a long time ago.
Okay, and then you can use the 8 months.
Yeah, but the 8 months is when you were kind of post cancellation and grief. It doesn't really count.
That doesn't count. So what does count? None of it. Day-to-day
life, when things are busy and I just think that all of your misery with your certain, what you just said is how you feel about yourself sometimes, which I so desperately don't want you to feel. I so want you to be happy, and I so want you to feel like you're thriving and doing your best. I believe, and I know that people give me shit for that because it's like, oh, I'm just anti-alcohol, which is, I'm not, I'm really not. But I believe that if you could prove to yourself that you could commit to not drinking for a good while, not just like, oh, a couple of weeks, like a really good while, I do think that you would feel a lot better about yourself. And that's all comes down to that. So it might be, oh, she's just fucking livid that I'm staying out until 2 a.m. No, I'm livid that you've let yourself down and me down when I actually have something really important to do. Like that's what gets me. Yeah.
Well, as I said, I could easily have moved it. But and at the same time, yeah, I mean, the thing is that I said I'd, and I really do. I would like to, have a little hiatus on the drinking. But the thing is, it just has to be, for me, like, is that right? I don't know. Is that maybe that's.
But do you understand why I feel cheated?
Well, no, because you did say, like, the next weekend after that. Why are you shaking your head?
I know what you're going to say.
Well, but why are you shaking your head when it is when it's
because it's really annoying that you bring that up.
But it's because you absolutely crucial.
But you use it in the wrong way. Are you going to say that I said that after you said that you weren't going to drink again after we got back together? You're going to say that I said, oh no, you don't have to not drink forever.
No, I'm going to say that the weekend after, the other day when I said I want to stop drinking for a bit.
Right.
You said we were going to a wedding the next weekend, and you went, oh, it's annoying that you're not going to drink at this wedding. And you made it feel like my not drinking was a negative. So
it's just so amazing. I said, oh, now I'm going to feel funny. You're like drinking because you're not drinking. And you were like, oh, I can drink if you want. And then suddenly we were both drinking. It's just...
Okay, well, I mean, the thing is that, the thing is that we don't have any recordings of this conversation. So maybe that is how you said it, and maybe I heard it how I wanted to hear it. Or maybe what happened is you're right. Now remembering it like you want to remember it, but one of us is misremembering it for our own purposes, and that's either you or that's me. And that, as I said before, is how a lot of fight starts. But each time I have said that I will do that, you have in some way undermined it or said that it's not as important as I perhaps held it to be. I think
no, because then
partially it's to do with control.
No, that's where I get really annoyed.
Well, I never really say that, so I don't know why you would get annoyed at that.
Because I know that that's the implication every time we have this kind of discussion is that I'm trying to control you by saying you don't drink. It's really not that. If you were happy and thriving and drinking, great. But you're not. You're not happy and not thriving. Sorry.
Wow. well, what a way to find out, you know.
Sorry, but it's true.
So how do you rebuild trust?
But what I was the reason why I brought that up is because even though you did break my trust because then basically, then we had another fight because you drank again.
What?
Without me. Yeah, last weekend you drank at this thing again, and I was annoyed that you had drunk, and you were like, oh, but because the deal was we then made a new pact. We got to stop making pacts, I think. Yeah,
it's the end of pacts. I think I'll try to drink less, but also I'll just.
But we made a new pact that if I'm drinking, and my drinking
I'll just
is
drink
like,
it.
my drinking is like a glass of wine.
I suggested that I'd just drink in Jessie's company, and that way.
And then I found out that you had drunk twice without my company.
Yeah, but it was just so much harder to feel like the not drinking thing was real if you said, oh yeah, but just only in my company. It's like, yeah, fucking your company.
But then we had
as long as I'm texting you, I can drink. I'm always away. I'm texting you on the phone.
Yeah, but then, so that broke my trust again, because it was like, oh, but you What do you mean you've been drinking? You've drunk twice without me because the new pact was that we drink together. So you break my trust in lots of ways like that regularly. But I'm still, it doesn't affect how much I love you and doesn't affect, I still believe, maybe I'm completely deluded, but I still believe in you. So I don't necessarily trust you, but I believe in you. Does that make sense?
It does.
That sounds awful. That sounds like people are going to comment like, what the fuck are you doing together?
Not on YouTube, not unless we clip it. All the YouTube comments are nice usually, but I'm not sure. I think this is a spicy episode even by our standards.
Yeah, but the control thing, I really would hate to be like that. I don't want to be a controlling person. And I also don't want to be one of these people who's kind of judgy for alcohol. If I could drink alcohol and feel good, I would. I don't get drunk. I don't know what it is about me. And you love alcohol. You're such a pro alcohol man. Like you love it. You thrive on alcohol. You really are fun on alcohol.
I like a bit of social and its lubricants.
But I like a bit of social. Like that implies that I'm not social.
The whole sentence was, and it's lubricants.
I'm not a loser, Alfie.
I didn't say
Don't
you were a loser,
call me
Jessie.
a fucking loser, okay?
I love you. And I think that was a really good, well-rounded chat in which, and I think as soon as you acknowledge, I mean, you get close to the microphone though.
No, because I know what you're about to do.
You don't. You haven't been right once this episode.
Okay, sorry.
As soon as you acknowledge that what is wrong, you're much more likely to get to the end of a fight by just focusing on what you've done wrong. It doesn't matter what the other person's done. Just focus on how you fucked up and then offer that. And then go, here's what I did wrong. And then the other person go, here's what I did wrong. And
but what's really annoying though is when you've done something actively wrong, like you really sabotaged me that night.
But again,
you did because then I didn't sleep all night because I was waiting for you to come back.
Because you were so angry.
Because I was so angry.
Yeah, so if you just learned to deal with your anger.
You should have then stopped.
But if you needed...
No, but Alfie, you should have come back.
Jessie,
you should have come back.
But, okay, first of all, I completely understand that and I was happy to come back, but I didn't come back because when you are that angry and when you... there are certain things that...
Irritated.
And when you were irritated enough to speak to me like you spoke to me before I went out, I don't feel like I owe you anything, no matter what's going on.
Bullshit.
No.
I wasn't even that. We had the kids here. Like I wasn't angry.
No. We went into another room.
That's just not true.
Here. No, we didn't. Your mum was looking after. No. Jessie. Please.
No. You, whatever the case, even if I think you chose yourself that night. Rather than thinking about, right, she's got a job tomorrow. One of the few acting jobs she gets. She's got to be up at 4:30. She'll be nervous. She wants to know that you're there. Because the thing is, I needed to know that you were back so I could leave the kids at 4 a.m. Because if you weren't back, I couldn't fall asleep before knowing you were back. Because in the past you have gone out and you've stayed out, which again breaks my trust.
No, that's just all. I feel very much like that's just a bit rubbish, Jessie.
Sometimes you have stayed out so late though that I don't know that you're back.
No, not for years.
Yeah, but you have done it. You've done it. So it's still there, Alfie. It's still there.
Okay, Jessie. I think I said I'm going to meet up with my friend on this day. Not seen her for ages. Is that day okay? I've got filming the next day. Oh, I can move it. No, don't move it.
Because I
okay. So I chose that day. Got about to go meet up with her. It's like 15 minutes before I leave.
Because again, I'd been with the kids I had been multitasking and juggling all day. It's an important part of the jigsaw, though.
It's not an important part of the jigsaw.
It is but for you, it's not. But actually, for me, who does most of the, like I'm with the kids all the time. Like I had been with them all day. You had been working all day, so then you'd been away all day. So you got back 15 minutes before you were supposedly meant to leave.
But that doesn't stop. Because Jessie, I said, shall I come back? And you said, no, stay out. I'm sorry, but there are quite a few occasions that these fights take place because I have done something upon your suggestion. You said, well, you've only just come back. You told me to only just come back.
I do that.
That is crazily
it's
annoying.
Because I want you to be happy.
And if you actually stay in the internal logic of what the fight actually entails, and that is, I said, is this day okay for me to go out? You said, I've got filming tomorrow. I said, well, do you need me back? No, I can change the date. No, that's fine. Oh,
I was trying to be loose and easy.
Well, don't try and be loose and easy. Just tell me how you feel.
It's nothing.
No, it's not only fun.
Loose and breezy. I was trying to, because I want you to be happy.
I know.
So I do. And then what happens is then I just tip over the edge because it's like, I've looked after the kids all day. I'm really anxious about this thing tomorrow. Oh, and you've been away all day and now you're going out again. Oh, and also I don't necessarily know that you're going to not drink so much so you kind of like are back at a nice time, which means that I'm relaxed for tomorrow. I was already like, I was ready to explode because you had, I don't think we've made that clear.
I think people have got enough information now. Do you have any other questions that you'd like to go over?
But no, this was the main one. And
I think there are a couple of others.
No, I'm about to fall asleep. I need to just finish this.
I think we finished it.
No, but Alfie, what I was going to say.
I can't talk about this again.
Alfie, is if you've done something more wrong than me.
How are we working out more and less wrong?
Just wait.
How are we, is there a chart that I can consult? How are we working out more and less wrong?
If you have done something that is on paper.
On paper?
Like on paper. I had a job. It was irresponsible of you to be out until that time when I had to be up at 4. You affected my ability to do the job well, to like look good on camera, blah, 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 blah. That on paper, that's wrong. You've done more wrong than me.
Yeah.
Because I got angry that
it depends what you write down on the piece of paper.
But
it's like if you write down on a piece of paper, you were wrong because you shot at me, and then we don't write down on the piece of paper, yeah, but you were also shooting at me. Like, what does paper mean?
You were going out with a friend for fun. I had a job, so like that was more important.
Yeah, that's just a tiny little bit of all the information, isn't it? That's the bit. Yeah, but if you say it just the bits of the information that make you sound shit and make me sound great,
you were very apologetic the next day. So I think that you're now just kind of trying to cover. You're trying to cover.
So, and you it was really horrible.
It was not really horrible. Oh my gosh, it's so annoying. You're actually being really annoying. I'm
not being really annoying.
You are. You're really choosing to kind of spin the anger thing, which is just bullshit.
I'm not spinning the anger thing, Jessie. I'm not.
Because you're embarrassed. You're embarrassed.
I'm not. Don't tell me I'm embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed.
You are, because it's obvious that you were so much more wrong than.
You're embarrassed about your anger.
The anger thing is
that's how it feels. That's exactly how I feel when you do the thing that I don't like.
It's really.
So do you understand how when we like both use this podcast to air grievances without having fully thought through the ramifications that, oh yeah, but we'll get into this argument. It'll make Alfie sound shit.
No,
Alfie
that's
also
not what I
has a
did.
side
That's
of the
not
argument.
what I did. I didn't get into this to make you sound like shit. I was actually
smear
trying to
me. It was a smear
Alfie,
campaign.
You let me finish.
Sorry.
You're not letting me finish at all.
Sorry.
Seriously. I'm really upset now. Genuinely. I'm really upset because I was bringing up this to make the point that seems really bad, but we had a really nice bounce back from that and everything is fine and it wasn't such a big deal. And even though
it wasn't such a big, clearly it was.
Just let me fucking finish. And even though you did break my trust that night, I'm fine. Like this trust thing, it's kind of like, oh, that the trust is the most vital thing in a relationship. Actually, don't know if it is, because you break my trust all the time in little ways.
Yeah, and you break my trust all the time. Yeah, but you carry on.
Exactly. And that's what I was trying to make that point.
That's a nice point.
No, but you just fucked that up for me.
Yeah, because you thought you were going to get through our retelling of that argument scot-free. I thought I was going to be able to tell the argument exactly on my terms without any fear of rebuke from you, the other person in the argument.
I would just be so intrigued to see what people think about this, because I think we haven't quite explained all of it, but I think it's clear that you were in the wrong.
Of course that seems clear to you.
But it's just, why can't you just say, I'll meet her for a couple of hours and then be back so that you're not stressed? What was the big deal about that?
Even, I know that you don't, we're just different. And I would longer the conversation evolves and becomes, it takes about an hour or two to get through how's this person, how's that person. And then you get into the weeds of a proper fucking good conversation that happens out of nowhere.
I guess it comes back to, I'm sorry, but the fact that I can multitask and I do a million different things in the day and you don't.
Right.
So I can see a friend. I like a regimented social thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing them for 2 hours. You have to get everything out. They say everything, you say everything. You have a hug and then you go. That's for me. I know that that's the opposite of what you want, but because my time is so limited, because I need to get back to the kids, because I want to get back to the kids.
So here's how I would have phrased that. We're both just very different people and both ways of being are absolutely fine as long as we try and understand each other's differences.
Yeah.
Here's the way that you described it. Because I'm better than you. It all has to come down to me being worse constantly.
No, but I
think that the reason why is because I'm not shit and you are shit. And that's the big difference between us and the cause of all these problems.
No, on a night like that, it doesn't have to be this kind of romantic, perfect hang. It can be something which is a bit more functional.
No, but
it could, just for that night, it could have been actually, I only have a couple of hours because Jessie's got an important thing the next day. So I'm going to be leaving at 9.
But these are people that I only see every 6 months. I
think it's more than that, but fair enough. I understand that we're very different.
We are very different.
I think actually that I'm going to come off worse than you in that.
I think you do. Yeah, everybody worries about themselves coming off worse than the other person.
I also completely understand the whole thing. I think I could have just handled it. I don't know. I should have said, don't do it that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
and I'll never trust you again.
No, I'll never trust you again. But I prefer not trusting you. It keeps everything more spicy.
We trust each other in the important ways.
No.
Okay.
Not at all. I love you though.
I would love to. I think.
I do. Of course I do trust you.
But how? What, in what ways?
Well, I trust you in the main. I trust you. I trust that you love me and I trust that you want the best for me. And I trust that you know me and I feel known by you, which I think is what makes the irritability so upsetting is because when you are irritated, you are a fundamentally different person. And I feel like I don't know who you are anymore.
Yeah, but that might just be in my luteal phase.
Yeah, but we've managed to break through your luteal phase because I now have taken to singing Lucille by Little Richard, but I changed the word Lucille to luteal. Lucille! You are in a funny mood. Luteal! You have said I'm being rude.
Do you know what? It might also have been impacted. My hormones might have been impacted by stopping breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Because now it's been 6 months since I stopped. What?
I'm just laughing about the time you'd first finished breastfeeding and you were clutching a copy of The Guardian Weekly and we were having a coffee near Titchfield Street. And David Hockney was on the front cover and you were holding David Hockney and you both had quite similar glasses and coloured cardigans on. And I said, you look like David Hockney. And then you went, oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Fucking stupid shit. And then you broke up with me.
I did. But also that photo is on your Instagram and actually it's a really nice photo.
Yeah.
I saw that the other day for some reason.
Of you clutching David Hockney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I looked really cool. And at the time I thought I looked really cool in that outfit. And then the fact that you called me David Hockney.
David Hockney is one of the coolest, well-dressed men going.
I know, but I wasn't wearing a cardigan. I was wearing like a white peasant dress. It wasn't.
Anyway, you just both had similar, but whatever.
Anyway, I'm.
What are the
sorry.
other questions that we
I need to go to bed now.
Just let's quick fire them.
No, it was just they're
Quick
both
fire
long.
them.
Who's more likely to break up with who?
Me breaking up with you.
What?
Next.
What?
There's a quick fire round. What? I'm just teasing you, baby. Next.
What? Hang on. What?
I was teasing.
Because it's obviously me.
I know it's obviously you.
Yeah, but we need to discuss this.
No, but we don't. The whole point of why that was funny is because that's obviously not a quick fire question, and to have any old answer is just wrong. That's why that was. So I was just doing a joke for the comedy podcast. Okay, I didn't mean it. Okay, it's just funny to answer that question immediately and then move on.
Yeah, but
now you want to have the chat. Go on.
Let's have the long chat now. The long fire round. Because why? I don't think that you would ever break up with me because you would be too scared to be the one who ends it. But that's quite depressing. Is that not depressing that you would just stay even if it's shit? I only want to be together if it's good. That's why some of the comments sometimes really upset me on Instagram with clips. Like the one that about me fantasizing about breaking up, where I was just trying to be funny and it's kind of got.
But you do, but you're like, when you're a kid, you fantasize about like, or you know, like John Mulaney has that bit in his show where he fantasizes about his grandparents dying.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you want it to happen. It just means that your brain wanders. And these people who are chronically online and their social media has fried their imagination to a crisp, can't empathize with anything that isn't direct language anymore. So they comment like that because they're fucking losers.
I know, but what I was just going to say is,
sorry.
Yeah, thanks. Is I only want to be in a relationship if it's great. Yeah. I don't want to be in a relationship if it's fine. Mm-hmm. I would much rather be on my own. So like, if anyone thinks, oh my God, they fight a lot, or oh my God, they're very different, or well, we are very happy together. We have a really fun relationship. Mm. And so that's why I really hope that if it wasn't fun and if it wasn't good 90% of the time, I hope that you would consider breaking up.
I wouldn't stay with you because I was afraid to be the one to break up with you. I'd stay with you. I'm sorry, this is a bit earnest, but because I love you, and there are going to be times in the future where the relationship does feel like, maybe, I don't know, but there are times that in the future when it might feel strained or difficult or tense or even just fine. And I won't break up with you then either, because I'd prefer to be in that relationship with you than a relationship with anybody else. And I would just make sure I would identify it, and rather than just break up with you or break up the relationship, would work out what was wrong and try as hard as I could to make it as good as I know it should be and is most of the time. So it would have to be shit for quite some time. But if it was, then I would break up with you. But also, you frequently say to me that if we broke up, you wouldn't be civil, which I think is like such a threat. Like, it's like, I think I'm staying with you, but that you're trying to make me stay with you for the wrong reasons by saying that. Because the idea is,
I just wouldn't be your friend, because I can't imagine not loving you.
Friend, just civil.
I wouldn't
nice.
be civil. Sorry, no. If I can't be in love with you, I'm not going to be fucking civil with you.
But civil, it's not for you. This is selfish. It's for the kids.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I would be civil in front of the kids, But then I'll be like, let's go to bed now, please.
I thought you wanted to watch something on TV.
No, this has really depressed me.
Why?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. That was really sweet. That was really sweet.
Oh, good.
You're a good man.
I'm fine.
You're fine.
And you're fine
and
too.
I do not trust you with a barge pole.
That's not the expression, as I keep saying. What was the other question for our quick fire round?
How do you continue to recognize romance in your late 20s and 30s?
Fucking a lot. Good night, everybody.
No, I was going to, now I have a long thing I was going to say about The Notebook, which I watched last night with our 8-year-old.
Oh.
And then The Notebook is, she was like, does it have romance in, Mummy? And I was like, yeah, I think this is like the number one romance film. But then in the end, it's kind of, they die together, the old couple. And he stays, the whole story is that this old man is reading through a notebook to an old woman in a retirement home, like for people with dementia.
James Garner.
Oh, is that who wrote it?
No, that's the actor's name who plays the old man who's reading to the woman.
Have you seen The Notebook?
No, I've seen Maverick.
Oh, right. You need to watch The Notebook.
I've seen The Notebook, yes. I can't watch too much Alzheimer's stuff because it makes me go to bits and also to pieces.
It's weird that I watched that the night after watching 50 First Dates, which is also about memory loss. Anyway, he's reading this notebook of his relationship with this woman, even though the woman doesn't remember him. And she had written these notes and said, read them to me when I won't remember and I'll come back to you. And then it cuts back and forth between Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams.
Who?
Rachel McAdams. When they're 17 and kind of leaping at each other and falling in madly in love. And then it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful, but then they do die at the end holding hands because she's died of Alzheimer's, he's died of a heart attack. And so there wasn't quite enough Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams at the end to make it worth the watch for my...
But that's as good as it gets.
No, but it did make me think of us because I was like, oh, I think you would do that for me. I think that you would... I really hope that we get to be old together because I think that you're going to be brilliant with me when I'm older.
I'm going to be a great old man.
Yeah,
if indeed I make it.
To be an old man. I want you to be an old man.
Yeah. So shall I read an Arundel Tomb to everybody to...
what the fuck is that?
That's a poem about Philip Larkin wrote about the two old people. It's like the final scene of The Notebook, I think.
Okay.
And that'll be...
Tell me I'm a bird. Tell me I'm a bird. You're a bird.
There's a reading of...
Say you're a bird too.
You're going to read from The Notebook. I enjoyed this episode, Jessie, despite everything.
It was very tense, but I think that...
probably make for good listening.
I'm really apologetic if you hated listening to that.
Well, as always, if you hated listening to any of the episodes, I'm apologetic about it. But also, I love you, Jessie. And...
Don't call me Jessie.
Jessica. Slut. And what else? Oh, and I because I was so tired, I think I have attacked the episode a touch too much, and that means. And now
you got your chocolate as a treat.
That's ironic. I was just about to say that I have interrupted you a couple too many times, and I apologise for that.
I forgive you, but I still don't trust you.
This is an Arundel Tomb by Philip Larkin.
You're not actually going to read it.
I am.
Go on then.
I think it might be fun.
Okay,
if you don't like, you can turn off now if you want.
Turn off now for the poetry.
Yeah. Side by side, their faces blurred, the Earl and Countess lie in stone, their proper habits vaguely shown as jointed armour, stiffened pleat, and that faint hint of the absurd, the little dogs under their feet. Such plainness of the pre-Baroque hardly involves the eye until it meets its left-hand gauntlet, still clasped, empty in the other, and one sees with a sharp, tender shock his hand withdrawn, holding her hand. They would not think to lie so long.
Yes.
Such faithfulness in effigy was just a detail friends would see, a sculptor's sweet commissioned grace thrown off in helping to prolong the Latin names around the base. They would not guess how early in their supine stationary voyage the air would change to soundless damage, turn the old tenantry away, how soon succeeding eyes begin to look, not read. Rigidly they persisted, linked through lengths and breadths of time. Snow fell undated. Light each summer thronged the glass. A bright litter of bird calls strewed the same bone-riddled ground, and up the paths the endless altered people came. Washing at their identity, now helpless in the hollow, an unarmorial an unarmorial age, a trough of smoke in slow suspended skeins. Above their scrap of history, only an attitude remains. Time has transfigured them into untruth. Their stone fidelity they hardly meant has come to be their final blazon, and to prove our almost instinct almost true. What will survive of us is love. It's a pretty great last bit, isn't it? Bye, everybody.
I can't take in information like that, so I'll have to read that. That was just lots of words, but I was really nice.
Lots of it doesn't quite... I'm not very good at reading poetry, and I'm not very good at comprehending it either.
But you like that one?
I do, but again, there's lots in that poem that goes over my head. But I think the essential message is rather beautiful. Although he doesn't like the poem, or he didn't like the poem. He said that before he died, which always makes me think, oh, fuck off.
Yeah,
like when Randy Newman said, oh, I don't really like I Think It's Going to Rain Today. Oh, really? Well, it's one of my favourites. You're calling me a stupid idiot. Fuck off, Randy.
Okay, go on then. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Goodbye.